And they put out signature Caitlin Clark balls and other merch that literally sold out within minutes of them going live.
Nike has finally recognized Caitlin Clark as the face of the WNBA, going all in on promoting her custom Nike Infinity Tour 2 golf shoes. After recent backlash, the brand has ramped up its efforts, but not everyone is happy. Aja Wilson isn't thrilled with the shift, and some fans still argue she's the true number one. The debate is heating up, and it's clear this rivalry is far from over.
Aja Wilson, 28 years old, 1,000 points in the regular season. Why is that not the biggest story out at the moment? And why are we talking about Caitlin Clark?
Why when Aja was releasing a shoe were we talking about Caitlin Clark?
Aja Wilson sees herself as the star of the WNBA, the top draw who should be getting the biggest promotions. And to be fair, the Heat stats back her up as the best player this year. But when it comes to marketing, the numbers tell a different story. Nike drops Caitlin Clark products, and they sell out instantly. Meanwhile, Wilson's merch struggles to move. The difference is undeniable. A plain black t-shirt with Clark's name on it sold out in under an hour. Like it or not, Clark isn't just a basketball star. She's a marketing powerhouse.
Wilson is the best player in the league. Well, she has come out and she has made some more comments, and it is like these players just don't want these new fans, even though the new fans are the ones that drive the revenue, plain and simple.
Aja Wilson still believes she can compete with Caitlin Clark, but the reality is setting in. Nike promised to push her more, but the results just weren't there. Wilson didn't deliver the buzz, and now Clark is getting all the spotlight. It's clear Clark's star power is undeniable, and Wilson is struggling to handle the shift. The marketing game isn't just about talent, it's about who captures the public's attention. And right now, that's Caitlin Clark.
Your play on the court doesn't always equate to how many shoes you will sell.
Nike is finally going all in on Caitlin Clark's promotion. Despite Aja Wilson's efforts to stay in the spotlight, at least the brand has recognized who the real star is and is putting its full backing behind Clark. Now, the focus is on Clark's rise. But let's just hope Wilson doesn't try to interfere like she did a few weeks ago. The WNBA is shifting, and Clark is leading the charge.
It's noise that I don't really listen to, honestly, because I'm in season. I have other things that we need to worry about than what other people have to say.
Nike initially stuck with Aja Wilson as their primary WNBA representative, but as Caitlin Clark's fan base exploded, they had no choice but to take notice. Suddenly, Clark was everywhere, dominating social media, sports media, and even drawing in casual basketball fans who had never followed the WNBA before. Nike quickly realized this wasn't just hype, it was the future of women's basketball. If they didn't back Clark, they'd be missing out on a golden opportunity. Now, they're all in, and the shift in focus is impossible to ignore.
And it led a bunch of these players to get very jealous and petty very quickly.
For Aja Wilson, this wasn't just a business move. It felt like a personal betrayal. At first, Nike didn't make any drastic changes. They had invested heavily in Wilson and weren't ready to shift their focus just yet. She was their trusted star. But as time passed, Nike's hesitation started to fade. Clark wasn't just a talented player, she was creating a movement. Young fans idolized her, and that's where Nike saw the real opportunity. Young consumers are gold for a brand like Nike. They're loyal, they buy tons of merchandise, and they influence their friends and family to do the same. That was a level of impact Wilson simply couldn't match.
Somebody coming along and elevating the sport shine ultimately benefits you. Go out there, compete with her, try to bust her up if you want to, and all of that stuff. Just don't hate on the acclaim that she's getting.
As Caitlin Clark's popularity skyrocketed, Nike had to face reality. She was quickly becoming one of the most marketable athletes in women's sports. Her ability to attract fans wasn't just about her skills on the court, though. That played a big role. Nike realized that Clark's appeal went beyond the typical basketball audience. She was a name people were discussing in different circles. Sports fans, casual viewers, and even those who had never followed the WNBA before. That kind of crossover appeal is marketing gold, and Nike knew they couldn't afford to ignore it.
We saw the jersey sales numbers. We didn't actually see the actual numbers, but we saw the top jersey sales in the WNBA this season. And A'ja, despite being a third-time MVP, her jersey sales were 5th in the league, even after Kate Martin, who barely saw the court the second half of this season.
This was a turning point for Nike. They had to adjust their strategy because Caitlin Clark was bringing in new fans, new demographics, and a level of excitement that was impossible to ignore. When Nike spots a rising star like that, they know it's time to make a move. So they began shifting their promotional efforts toward Clark. But as expected, this didn't sit well with A'ja Wilson. She couldn't help but feel frustrated by Clark's sudden rise. It wasn't just about Clark getting more attention, it was that Wilson believed she had earned the spotlight. To her, it seemed like Clark hadn't faced the same struggles or challenges that she had. Wilson even hinted at this in public comments, suggesting that Clark's rise was fueled by factors beyond just basketball talent. That public back and forth started to affect Wilson's image. Up until now, she had been seen as a hardworking, humble star who let her game speak for itself. But now, her comments about Clark came across as bitter and resentful. Some fans who had always supported Wilson began questioning whether she could handle sharing the spotlight with another rising star. It wasn't a good look. Meanwhile, Clark's appeal wasn't just about basketball, it was about the way she connected with fans. She was relatable, charismatic, and most importantly, electrifying to watch. Every time she stepped on the court, there was a sense of anticipation. Fans knew something special could happen at any moment. That excitement kept people tuning in game after game. Clark wasn't just gaining viewers, she was building a loyal community. Fans wanted to be part of her journey. They bought her jerseys, followed her on social media, and supported her in every way possible. That kind of fan loyalty is rare, and it's exactly what brands like Nike look for. They knew that tapping into Clark's fan base would bring massive returns, making her the perfect athlete to push into the spotlight.
Is A'ja Wilson currently the best player in the WNBA? Yes. Is Caitlin Clark currently the face of the WNBA? Yes. Do I think if A'ja Wilson dropped a shoe and Caitlin Clark dropped a shoe today at the very same time, that Caitlin Clark would outsell A'ja's shoe by 100 times? Yes, I think that would be the case.
Nike saw the demand for Caitlin Clark's merchandise skyrocket. Her jerseys, posters, and even simple t-shirts were flying off the shelves. Fans couldn't get enough, and Nike knew they had a massive business opportunity on their hands. The real game changer? Clark's highly anticipated signature shoe. The moment Nike hinted at it, excitement exploded. Everyone knew that when it dropped, it would sell out instantly. Her fan base was passionate, engaged, and eager to support her. For A'ja Wilson, the comparison was tough. When Nike released her signature shoe, the response wasn't nearly as overwhelming. While she had loyal supporters, her merchandise didn't generate the same sellout numbers. That's why Nike started shifting its promotional focus. It wasn't personal, it was just business. Clark's fan base was bigger, more engaged, and more willing to spend.
Oh, stop being petty. Stop being catty, cause she like a double-edged sword. She couldn't tell left and right, and it's bothering y'all, and I see it. Let's go, Caitlin. Hey, do me a favor, CC. Send your favorite uncle a jersey with your autograph on it, and I will.
Nike's decision to prioritize Caitlin Clark wasn't random. It was a calculated move based on undeniable numbers. Clark's merchandise was flying off the shelves, creating the kind of commercial success that brands dream of. Bigger sales, more visibility, and a growing fan base made her the obvious choice for more promotion. For A'ja Wilson, this was a tough pill to swallow. Despite her dominance on the court, her merchandise just didn't generate the same buzz. In the world of sports marketing, numbers matter, and Clark's impact was impossible to ignore. Nike doesn't make decisions lightly. They had backed Wilson for years, building a strong partnership, but Clark's rise was an opportunity they couldn't afford to miss. While players like Angel Reese stood by Wilson, the reality was clear. Clark had become Nike's main star, and Wilson had to take a step back.
Y'all stop being petty. Stop being catty, cause she like a double-edged sword. She cutting tail left and right, and it's bothering y'all, and I see it. Let's go, Caitlin. Hey, do me a favor, CC. Send your favorite a jersey with your autograph on it, and I will.
From Nike's standpoint, this wasn't about favoring one player over another. It was simply business. Caitlin Clark was bringing in more fans, more excitement, and most importantly, more revenue. Nike had to capitalize on the moment, which meant shifting more of their promotional efforts toward Clark. It was a calculated decision driven by numbers, not favoritism. For A'ja Wilson, though, it didn't feel that way. She had been the face of Nike's WNBA campaigns for years, and now it seemed like they were moving on without her. The shift felt personal, even if Nike saw it as just the natural evolution of the business. Clark was the rising star, and Nike needed to invest in her to keep the brand moving forward. Wilson wasn't happy about it, and it showed.
Seriously? The arrogance. People are going to consume what they want to consume and who they want to consume, whether you like it or not, and it's not up to A'ja Wilson to let anybody do anything.
For A'ja Wilson, Nike's shift in focus wasn't just a business move, it felt personal. She had built her brand alongside Nike, representing them proudly for years, starring in major campaigns and embracing her role as a leader in the WNBA. But despite her dominance on the court, the harsh reality was that her merchandise didn't sell at the same level. Wilson had been one of the best players in the league for years, but being a great player and being a marketable star are two different things. Caitlin Clark had both: elite talent and mass appeal. She wasn't just drawing basketball fans, she was bringing in new audiences, selling out products, and creating a level of hype the WNBA had never seen before. For Wilson, that was frustrating. She had put in the work, proven herself time and time again, yet Clark's rise seemingly overshadowed everything.